The worst case scenario has occurred. We are in probably the most dire circumstance we have been in basically all of Four Knights of the Apocalypse, and that is saying something considering all the close calls the entire cast has had up until this point. Only now, Lancelot is no longer the safety net for our group, but our greatest obstacle. And this chapter really hypes me up for the future while also getting me concerned as to how our cast is going to be able to overcome what is now known as Chaos Lancelot. But before we jump into this video, don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell for updates on future videos. It really helps and it shows you guys enjoy the content I make here on the channel and shows you want to see more. Also, I'm going to be on vacation for next week and a half, so since there's no chapter next week, I might have a video in time to have you guys watch while we're in break week while I'm away. And when I come back, videos will be late, but I should be able to get the following chapter done as well, so I will promise you on that when I get back from vacation. But let's just jump straight into this chapter. Chapter 248 of Four Knights of the Apocalypse, titled Worst Case Scenario. And the cover image is of Lancelot and Guinevere holding each other tight as Lancelot is being engulfed by the dark powers of Cath's malevolent chaos, just like where last chapter left us off. And we truly begin the chapter with Lancelot in the eye of this maelstrom of chaos magic just beginning to get absorbed into him, as Tristan and Percival are trying to get him to not accept the power of chaos, but Gawain tells him that they're already too late. He wasn't possessed or brainwashed into getting the power of chaos. He agreed to it of his own free will, forming a binding contract that no one could violate. Now that is an interesting thing because, like I said last week, the fact that this is a contract and the fact that we're putting emphasis on the fact that this is a contract, similar to how the Chaos Perils gained their chaos powers by giving up their humanity and their memories of people that they love and basically wanted the power that they wanted in order to protect them for. Only now it is Lancelot acquiring all of Cath's magic power. So like that is another next level thing that is going to occur. And we also saw how strong the 4 Chaos Pearls were against our main cast. And those were, I would say, barely even half of Cath's chaos power. It only took Lancelot or, well, more so the Sins to actually be able to do anything against them. Now, Lancelot's getting all of it. So that is good. We are effectively screwed right now. But as Gawain is telling the situation, Lancelot desperately communicates with everyone in the vicinity through telepathy, telling them all to get away from him. As then the magical ball of chaos energy bursts open, Galahad looks concerningly in the direction of Lancelot, as we then, in a double-page spread, see a close-up of Lancelot's face, with a blacked out, I would assume red or fully purple eye showcasing his corruption, with a bit of a, I want to say, scar on his face to showcase his transformation. But we then get a consecutive double-page spread in a row showcasing Lancelot's full design. And honestly, this looks pretty damn cool, I'm not gonna lie. It is a very less is more type of design, though I am not going to lie, and this has been said before when the chapter came out, this Lancelot looks very much like he's stealing the Assault Mode Meliodas or ShyRose vibes with how his like outfit looks, from like the wing-like extensions of dark magic behind him to the way he's just in an all-black attire right now. Like, and also what seems like the black extensions covering his arms. So like, yeah, he basically turned assault mode before Tristan, which I find hilarious now. I know it's a serious situation, but it's never too serious to point out how much Tristan gets dicked around a lot of the time. But yeah, I like the design of Chaos Lancelot. It looks really cool. He's got a really cool looking chaotic spear with some eyes and teeth on it. It's a very less is more type of design. He's also holding Guinevere, who is now unconscious, presumably from the sheer force and magnitude of the magic power that crashed onto Lancelot. So Lancelot has now become truly Chaos Lancelot. And as he stares at the group, he twirls his spear and points it at them as Gawain tells everybody to huddle together. As everybody goes closer to Gawain, llywarch grabs Galahad to pull him towards the group as he reaches out towards his father. And Gawain uses the spell bead and chants, "May the door to Britannia open before me. Accept me and offer me its guidance." And right as Lancelot is lunging his attack, as he stares off towards the group entering the portal, in a double page spread once more, we see utter devastation engulf from the center point of Lancelot towards the portal. And we get another double-page spread showcasing more of the ensuing blast, with the group just barely managing to escape back to Britannia and the Kingdom of Leonis. As we see the aftermath, Lancelot has basically erased everything within the general vicinity. I say erase, he just utterly destroys it, but it gives off that vibe that he just fully wiped out like an entire area of this section of Camelot. Utter devastation with a casual point of his spear towards the direction of the group. An AoE attack from a spear move, that is crazy. But from the ensuing, chaos, I would have to say, we cut back to Leonis, as reconstruction efforts are going strong, with King and Diane and Gother all pitching a hand. King is being a worrywart, telling Diane to just rest for a bit if she wants, and Gother says that with the progress they're making right now, in just a few weeks' time, they'll be able to fully rebuild Leonis. It'll be like nothing happened, save for Bond being an old man decrepitly inside, and Elizabeth being in a literal catatonic state. But yeah, everything's gonna more or less be like it was before. Look, I know Gother or no one says that, oh, it's gonna be like nothing happened, but like when you rebuild an entire city, the whole thing's gonna be like, yeah, it's gonna look like nothing ever happened. But just as the Sins are just talking about how long it's gonna take to rebuild, we get civilians just begin to be in shock and awe as people just came out of nowhere, as some of them recognize Prince Tristan, as our main group, as well as the whole Holy Grail Knights, are in Leonis right now to meet the citizens. It's then that King and Diane go right up to them and welcome them back, asking if they were successful on their mission. Now this is a very small, brief interaction, but I want to focus on it really quick, because the Holy Grail Knights are confused and panicked by seeing a giant who is Diane and King, who's a fairy. Based on their reactions and how they talk about, seeing Diane and King, this implies a couple of things. One, the Holy Grail Knights in their time period have not met perhaps any of the 7 deadly sins, which is concerning in and of itself. Two, it seems like they have never seen a fairy or a giant before, which is pretty crazy, especially considering with Cardiez, Lohengrin, and Galahad, because they got fairy in their blood. Cardiez is using a piece of the sacred tree, the sacred fairy tree, for his magic powers. Cardiez's mother is Nazienz, and Galahad is in fact part fairy due to the fact that Lancelot is the son of Bond and Elaine. And due to that family tree, it feels weird that they didn't see the Sins at all, especially those particular characters, because I doubt King wouldn't be giddy to see his grandson. Same with Diane, to see her grandson, first grandson actually, and I wouldn't put it past Bond or even Elaine to see their grandson, which is a crazy thing to think about. And even ysaye and llywarch are confused as to who they're seeing. Only ysaye says that Diane is a giant and is saying, no way, is that a giant? And llywarch has never seen a fairy before, seemingly, which is why she was confused with a human with wings. So this implies a whole lot of things, that maybe the world that they come from, there are no fantasy races like the giants and the fairies at all. Maybe after what happens now in the present timeline, or what should have been the present timeline, they cease to exist, or they're separate from this world, or something like that. I'm not entirely sure. And could also imply that some of the Sins might be dead in their future timeline, which to an extent would make sense, because again, like I said, it'd be weird for King and Diane not to go and see their grandson at all growing up, or Elaine and Bond seeing their grandson growing up. That just feels like something that they would all do with immense glee. But yeah, the future timeline is making me more and more interested, so much more than I was before, and I really do hope in the ensuing chapters we actually dive in to what this future was, because the mystery keeps building for me as to how their future is like, and what the future versions of the Four Knights are. But that's going to be enough of that. I might make that a whole video at some later point, because this fascinates me to no end. But back to the chapter. After being asked if they accomplished their mission, the remaining members of the Four Knights just begin to cry out of frustration. Gawain slams the wall in anger as to what happened, as Tristan and Percival break down in tears, with King, Diane, and Gother confused as to what could have happened, and the Holy Grail Knights just kind of looking on at their future parents, as well as Galahad just being somber that his father has seemingly given up everything in an instant. And that's the last we see of our main group for now, as we cut back to the decimated void of the area where Chaos Lancelot emerged. As Kath shows his big, fat, ugly face popping out of the wing that Lancelot has, as he's just so giddy that he was right for picking Lancelot, saying that how all that destructive force that he did was simply perfect. He made the right call, basically doing this with Lancelot. As Cass says, now you'll do exactly as I say, but Lance spears him through the head and completely destroys Cass, as Lancelot says that he's not the boss of him. As the chapter ends with Lancelot still holding Guinevere, saying that he doesn't need anyone ordering him to destroy the world. He'll do it by his own will and his own hand, as the chapter ends. Now, as you can tell, this is a very much shorter recap, obviously, because of all the double-page spreads and everything. But genuinely, this is crazy. Lancelot is the main antagonist now. I have no idea if this was like a death for Kath. Felt a bit too comedic and anticlimactic for that to be the case. I know I'm diving too into that, but it's just a thought that occurred to me after going back through the chapter. But that aside, Chaos Lancelot. We are here, we are screwed, and I am incredibly curious to see what's going to happen going forward, because the 4 Knights of the Apocalypse that are remaining do not stand a chance against Lancelot now, if they ever had a chance at all. Lancelot basically came off what could have been interpreted as a training arc for himself, considering he was weighed down by Galahad's ability for days, if not weeks on end. And now, we could consider him physically potentially stronger than he was beforehand, physically. He has insane combat prowess. He has infinite magical power reservoirs from the Lady of the Lake, as her power is within Lancelot as a perfect vessel. Now, Lancelot has the full chaotic force of Kath. However, despite having that power, Kath has no sway or control over him. So, Lancelot is the perfect, chaos wielder now, effectively. Infinite magic. He's got the power of creation through chaos. He's got the strongest physical body there is in combat potential. Not only that, but now, based on how he's saying he wants to destroy the world by his own hands and on his own terms, it is very obvious that accepting the power of chaos fully altered his personality, perhaps amping up the darker thoughts he's had recently after confronting the real King Arthur and Merlin, as well as everything that's happened with Guinevere. The power of chaos just amped up his emotional imbalance that he's had over the last day or two. And because of the situation, I think that's why Lancelot wants to destroy the world, because now the chaos is amplifying those darker thoughts to the point where that is his main personality and fully overwrote his desires. And genuinely, I cannot wait to see what happens next. But I'm also concerned. I have to be fair here. I am concerned at how Nakba is going to do this, because is Lancelot going to be the main antagonist till the end of the story? Will Kath make a surprise return and be the main antagonist again? Or will a third party show up and be the main big bad or whatever? I don't know. And while this is very big in terms of raising the stakes to higher degrees than we've ever seen in the story before, and basically fully shows us that the 4 Knights need to go on a training arc. Same with the Holy Grail Knights, because they were easily taken down by the 4 Knights, and they're not even in their prime based on how they describe their parents in the future. So we are screwed, and we need a desperate training arc. The only characters that I think could even hold a candle to Lancelot, or at least put up a fight, is potentially Meliodas, because now he's going through his depression arc, so he'll probably be more enraged than ever if he sees Kath again, and this time possessing his best friend's son, and Bon, who is, again, internally dying from organ failure due to how old he was aged up. Physically, he seems fine, but he is an old man, potentially on the verge of death. So even if he puts up a decent fight against Lancelot for a bit, his body's going to short circuit on him, and he'll die in that fight. So we have genuinely no options unless King Arthur somehow comes back and helps, but he is also in immense depression and not willing to help and views himself as inferior and a failure. So our options are so limited, and I am afraid of Nakba doing an ass pull to save the day after raising the stakes so high. I have faith because the story has had a lot of pretty cool moments, and now we're going in uncharted territory with our safety net gone. But I genuinely am a bit apprehensive as to how the story is going to go forward after this decision. You guys let me know what you think in the comment section down below. What do you think is going to happen next? We're definitely going to get a training arc. Are we going to get a training arc? Do you think we'll get a time skip? How do you think Lancelot will be brought back into the fold and rescued from his own chaotic dark desires now? And who do you think will be the actual final antagonist of the story? And what's more, if you haven't already, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell for updates on future videos. Really helps, and it shows you guys the content I make here on the channel and shows you want to see more. And don't forget to check out my Patreon, link in the description down below. First-tier patrons and above will get access to my Patreon-only Discord server, shoutouts, and I have my big Ichi the Witch review coming out later, going over the most recent arc of the manga, and every month I will be doing batch reviews of Ichi the Witch on my Patreon, since I cannot stand Shueisha's copyright stuff to even cover this manga here on the channel as much as I really want to. But that's going to be for you guys over on Patreon. But with all that said and done, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I hope you all have an awesome day.